Hey guys, here we are, we're back. And remember this plant that I just talked about? Well, here's our artist.
I'm Eleanor.
And what we're going to do with Eleanor is we're going to continue now. If you've watched our previous videos, you will find where Eleanor and I made this bonsai together. So what we're going to do right now is I would like to remove the wire. This wire has been on this plant since October of last year. So by now, the branches should be holding their shape. Okay? You hold the plant and you straighten the wire and you start unwinding it. Okay? Make sure you hold the branch. You're controlling the branch. You don't want to break the branch. Okay. Right, there we are. See the wire, this is aluminum wire, extremely flexible. Pull it out of the soil. Okay, so we anchored it in the soil. Okay, we have one on that branch too. Way to go. You control the plant. Okay, now the reason why we're removing the wire before we do anything, because we are going to stabilize this plant in a bonsai pot. And it's always advisable to remove your wire first, because this way you're not fighting the branch, the root system in a new pot and disturbing it. You want it to be as solid as possible. Okay? Now let's see. You see how it has held pretty decently, but we can always reshape it a little bit afterwards and get it going again. Okay? Remember, bonsai is always in training. A finished bonsai is a dead bonsai. So you don't want that. You want a bonsai that's constantly training. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare the pot. And as you can see, I have a screen in there over the hole. We have drainage holes in bonsai pots. Okay? Now, let's show you how to make this clip. Okay? Piece of wire. I used a 1.5 or 2 wire. If you bend a circle and then opposite direction, bend a circle again, you got a figure 8, okay? Then we're going to straighten those pieces up, the 2 ends, bring them up. We got a flat cradle, a flat platform there. We're going to take from the bottom, we're going to push those 2 uprights into there. Okay? Now, piece of screen. And the screen I'm using is soffit screening, or screening that you normally use over a screen enclosure patio. Okay? And we're going to take that and slide it onto the 2 uprights, and then we're going to bend them down, bend them flat. Okay, and that holds the plant in place. Okay? Now, another thing we're going to do, we're going to take another piece of this wire, and I'm going to gauge this sticking up about 8 to 10 inches to the other hole. Same thing. We'll cut this baby. Okay? And what we're going to do is from the bottom, once again, going to feed one section in through the screen and the other section in through the screen. Pull it through. Okay, now we have these 2 upright sections sticking up. This is to make sure that when we plant our plant, we can tie the plant in place so it won't fall out. Just in case a bird lands on it, we're not going to have a problem with it. Okay? So that's our plant prep, our pot prep, right? Now, we're going to pull this out, pull it out of the pot. Just pick it up. Yes, that's right. Pull it out of the pot. Right. Now, let's position it in there and see what it looks like. Oops. That almost fits. Looks like we did a pretty decent cleanup the last time we worked with it. Now, positioning in a pot. The center of the pot is designed, is reserved for the deity. Okay? So, if you put your plant in the center of the pot, and he comes down and the plant is in his way, plant is history. Okay? So, for design purposes, what we're going to do is we're going to go over about 1/3 of the way from the end of the pot, and that's where the plant will be positioned. Okay? It's a good way to balance out the pot and plant. Okay? But now, do we want to go to the left or to the right? Okay, let's go to the left because we have a twin trunk and this trunk can take over this area. Okay, but what I do want to do is take a little bit more soil off of this plant. Okay, we have a couple of roots and weeds that are growing on the top. Shears. Where's mine? Okay, you see the roots that are sticking up? That are not doing anything, let's trim them off. And even up here, on the plant itself, these that are up, all the way up on the trunk, we do want to expose the trunk a little bit more. So all of these roots here, and we don't want to remove too many of them. Okay, we want a good balance. When you're removing roots, you've got to be sure that you're not taking major roots out and you're not disturbing too many of the important roots. And a lot of the important roots are the feeder roots. Those are the roots that are near the top. Right? So let's just clean it so that we can enjoy the trunk movement and not have to worry about roots being in the way. Right? And we're not crossing over these gorgeous exposed roots on the top. Right on. That's it. Okay, now let's take a look. You see, here's your top, and you see how much nicer and cleaner the root structure is? Right? Now, we originally, when we shaped the plant, this is an informal upright, it's a twin trunk, they're coming out together, twin trunk, that's father and son, or mother and daughter, okay? We have branch number 1 on the left-hand side, branch number 2 on the right-hand side, this in their position so that they can hug you. They're not pointing at you, it's root to point, right? Then we have back branches. We have some back branches, which gives us the balance that we require. Okay? So this is the front. It's going to go and position us and show us the front of the tree. Now, let's get some of this. I want to just open up the root structure a little bit, get rid of some of this soil so that we can get it down a little bit flatter in the pot. Right? We're still a little bit high, and we can just clean it up a little bit more and open them up. What I want to do is we do have some of these roots. It's good to use the roots also mixed in with your soil when you're putting down a base for your plant. Put the roots in, okay? The finer parts of the roots, because you know, we talk about fungus, and we say fungus is not good. Fungus is not good. However, roots, especially the fine roots of plants, will develop a beneficial fungus called mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is very important for a plant to develop. As you can see, as I'm talking, I'm taking the wire across, okay, take this piece to that and twist it. Pull it tight, pull them tight, pull it tighter, okay, and twist, and just twist it. Pull it tight all the way down to the bottom. All right, and get it twisted now. Okay, now that's twisted. See, and the reason for that is now it won't fall out of the pot. Okay, so if the pot falls over, a bird lands on it, whatever, we're not going to lose our plant. Let's trim these two pieces off. In place. All right. Now what I'm going to do is the wire that the soil that we originally used, I'm going to mix a good potting soil in with it. Now, you know, as you guys can see, I'm using regular potting soil. Miracle Grow or Jungle Growth, whatever your choice is. And I'm not using all of those extravagant soils that everybody wants to call bonsai soil. Not an absolute necessity. Good potting soil is great. One thing I will recommend though, with this potting soil, if you take lava rock and you crush up the lava rock and you mix it in with your potting soil, that's an excellent additive to the soil. And the main reason is because as your roots are growing, they're moving through the soil and there's no obstruction. So they're just going to get longer and longer and longer. But with lava rock in there, it's a textured rock. It's a very rough rock. So as the roots are going, if it hits that rock, it's going to stick. It cannot go over it, can't slide, it's going to stick. And when it's not going, what it's going to do is it's going to start growing new little roots off of that. So you're going to get a more fibrous root system, which is great. Okay? Now, you're going to start putting the soil in, get your hands dirty, and you're going to start filling in the areas slowly and start compacting it down. Okay, make sure you fill all the cavities around the perimeter. Okay, we're starting to look good. All air pockets have to be filled in. You do not want any air pockets in your pot. Okay, put it in. Keep on keeping on. Don't stop. Okay. Okay, now we're starting to look good. Can we quit? Okay, so that's where we are at this point in time. There are other things I'd like to talk about, but let's take 5. Okay?